Hi all, Meemaw here with my buddy Agnes Amelia, aka Cujo. I threw Ragno Ishmael out of the room so we'd have a shot at this. I have no guarantees from the birds as to whether or not they will behave. I was thinking about courage this morning on my way to the horse barn to feed. And I've spent the past few weeks heavily involved in a terrible situation in our town where young girls were allegedly molested by a 25-year-old substitute teacher and rec department counselor. Everything points to mishandling by the rec department and the town, and because of that, another young girl was molested right in her own home when he was babysitting. As a town of 5,000 people, we are very protective of our children, and we are happy to be able to raise them in a peaceful rural setting. So we are traumatized. I got to work doing the things I'm good at, as did many of the other residents, and we had a town meeting where dozens of residents courageously demanded our first selectman step down. She refused. Horatio, no. So I am back at it, and we residents will have our way. Now you must understand that I am painfully shy. I couldn't speak to anyone that wasn't family or a close friend until I was around 11, and even then it was effort. It still is, but I studied acting and I learned to hide it well. So you understand it's still hard for me to ask for anything for myself. My Catholic upbringing makes it virtually impossible, but if I see someone else bullied, from a child to an elderly or special needs person to a jellyfish on the beach, just step back. I can't help it. I become this fierce, courageous mama lion, and I will not be stopped. For example, years ago, one of our parish priests accused my son of lying about something that I absolutely knew was truth. Matt was also shy, and he started second-guessing himself, and I was immediately on the warpath. So after church that Sunday, I marched into the rectory and demanded to see this priest, but was told he was busy counting the money from the collection baskets. I wouldn't leave, and I got loud enough for him to hear me from down the hall, and he stormed out, yelling that he had important things to do. So he was a big guy, but I'm a really big gal, and really, hit me. See how well that goes. But long story short, we got into a screaming match so loud that my kids waiting in the car outside could hear us. My husband at the time, who had come in with me, bailed and ran out the door. I never took one step back, but that priest ended up in the corner, ripped open the front of his shirt, pulled out the crucifix from around his neck and screamed, "This has a piece of the true cross of Christ in it. I swear on this cross I have never been treated this way in my life." It didn't quite burst out laughing. Then I yelled, "I find that hard to believe. Don't you ever talk to my son again." And I stared at him for a few seconds and I stormed out. He was later convicted of stealing money from the church, as well as was accused of molesting several young boys there. The church settled for an undisclosed amount of money. I believe it was after he died. I don't believe in hell, but he makes me want to. Now, I despise men who hide behind fancy masks and robes and positions and prance around as pious, benevolent people when they are actually poisonous snakes. Anyway, scumbags and injustice set me off. Pedophiles send me over the edge. And in my heart, I knew what that dirtbag was. For my kids, I fight to the death. If I feel afraid for someone else, I get to work. For myself, I walk away. I don't care. It's just me. Now, in the case of Trump getting back into office, I want to fight so hard that if he gets in, I'm one of the first ones to be on the list to be deported or sent to a detention camp. Go ahead, do it. And I will keep on fighting wherever I am, and I will know I did my best. My children and grandchildren's futures are worth it. Me? Whatever. But for them, I love them so intensely that I will do whatever I can to make sure they have a future, whatever it takes. I will not let a lying, cheating, stealing, sex-offending, misogynist destroy their democracy, take away their rights and freedoms. You can't tell me I'm wrong. I have eyes. I see the truth. I will not be deceived by him. I am not alone in this battle. That's the only way we win this. All of us who have not been drawn into the cult must join together and not be afraid of the fight, only what will come if we don't fight. It would have to be one hell of a detention center to hold all of us. So, when I arrived at the barn this morning, 2 young hawks were trying to get inside to get at the hatching of the baby swallows that started chirping a few days ago. We've built fenced screen doors to keep them and the crows out, but that doesn't stop them from trying. So an entire flock of parents and first hatchling barn swallows were attacking these huge red tails, flying in from every angle, getting behind them and swooping in their faces. There had to be 100 of them. They were screaming and pecking and keeping them so disoriented, they finally gave up and flew back to the woods. This has to be us. We have to be the barn swallows, small but fearless in our defense of our country, our Constitution, and our way of life. Our passion for freedom and justice must override any fear of the menacing bully, the fraudulent Christian who wields the cross of a man he does not follow and blatantly denigrates by his actions. Trump is an aberration of human decency, a perversion of spirit, a monster of inflated ego and bombastic propaganda. People ask if I'm afraid because of the things I say. I am not. Every single word is truth. I learned in journalism school, the truth will set you free. Every single word is true, even though it's presented in the spirit of satire. What's he gonna do? Stick his goons on a 63-year-old Meemaw who's rescued abused and at-risk animals for most of her life? I spent a dozen years teaching special needs children and adults how to ride horses. Go ahead. The press is gonna love it. There are way more of us than there ever will be of them. It's barn swallows against the hawks time. In our favor, Kamala has him reeling. He is terrified of her. He likes his women dependent and submissive, and he likes it when they are in a position of owing him something. Kamala owes him nothing. And she's fearless. So now all my little barn swallows, or macaws, is the time to attack, to keep his head spinning so that his incomprehensible word salads degrade into flat-out blathering. While Kamala does her work, we come in from all sides. So what do? Okay, we figure out what we're good at and we use it. Right now, I'm kind of trapped here on the sanctuary taking care of animals. But from here, I can write and make videos. My job is to expose the absurdity of these people, and together, we can laugh about it. Laughter is one of spirit's greatest gifts. It gets us through difficult and scary times. And when we laugh at how absurdly ludicrous Trump and his sycophants are, yes, it enrages them. It makes their heads spin. It breaks their spirits. It weakens them. It strengthens us. So I will do my job. And you, what do you know how to do? Donating to campaigns is an easy option if you have the means. Definitely become a part of a group or two or more. Look for action ideas. Add your own, post them. We have Meemaws Unite, but I'm also in other groups like Pantsuit Nation, which reminds me, I gotta look for mine. I hope it still fits because for an old lady, I look pretty hot in a pantsuit. Anyway, can you get out the vote? Can you volunteer for a campaign? Write postcards? Do you know how to organize? Oh, I would love someone to organize a million Meemaw march on the Washington Mall. We could do this. We may have most of our lifetimes behind us, but we know how to use wisely what's left. And while our memories may not be perfect, no one uses Post-it notes as well as we do. Nobody. We could organize buses, nice ones. We deserve it. Picture all of us descending on the Capitol. Meemaws, peepaws, walkers, wheelchairs, hearing aids, a golf cart parade. Thousands of baby blue tracksuits and white Skechers slip-on sneakers. Endless platters of sliced banana bread and lemon squares that we will not share with the press, liberal, conservative, or otherwise. Well, maybe NPR. We march for Kamala. We march for our children and grandchildren. We march for the rights that have been taken away and for the ones on the chopping block. And this time, we leave our kitty cat hats at home with our cats. This time, we wear our Rosie the Riveter headscarves because we are strong and capable and we can do this. Agnes agrees. Would you come with me to the Mullen March? She would. She would. Okay, that may be a lot, but it would make Donald Trump crap his pants. Anyway, think small and think big, my little barn swallows. We only have a few months. If we work as a flock, we can send them back into the dark woods they slithered out of. And when Kamala wins on November 5th, it becomes our new Independence Day for women. Unite. We can do this. We can still do this. Sincerely, Meemaw.